My name is Alexander Salem, and I'm a student here at Westchester University. It is December 7th, and I'm going to be interviewing a United States Air Force veteran, John Salem, today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is John Salem. I was in the Air Force about 35 years ago, 1975 to 79, and I'm here to reminisce about my days in the service.
So first off, I'd like to ask you about how your childhood was, where you were born when you were younger.
I was born in western Pennsylvania somewhere. My father traveled a lot, moved a lot, so we moved to Ohio. Finally ended up in New Jersey, where I went to high school. After high school, I went right into the Air Force.
And what were the reasons behind you moving so much? Was it just that your dad was a businessman and whatnot?
My dad worked for Mobil Chemical Company, and he got transferred several times, 3 times I think, during the time I was born, and when we finally ended up in New Jersey.
What inspired you to join the military at that age?
Well, I got out of high school, didn't have a lot of plans for life. I was still very undecided. A friend of mine said, you know, he was joining the Air Force and would be a good experience. And I thought, well, it would be a good experience and I would be able to go to school afterwards. And I'm glad that I did. I chose the Air Force because of the Army. I didn't want to be in Marines. I didn't want to be in. The Air Force was just out of laziness. I thought the best one. It was also the longest commitment that had to be made. It was 4 years, and don't regret it.
Do you have any siblings that also joined the military as well?
No, I don't. I have 2 younger brothers and an older sister, and I'm the only one in my immediate family who did military service.
Any friends?
Well, my friend Lionel in high school, he joined the Air Force with me, and I still keep in touch with a couple of buddies from back then.
And you obviously, I just wanted to ask what was your basic training and whatnot like? Can you just go into description of that, please?
Basic training was, we had to go to Newark, New Jersey to get our physicals and everything and get signed into the Air Force. Mm-hmm. We were flown down to Lackland Air Force Base in Texas for basic training. And I must say it was the biggest shock of my life because it was just a different, you don't do what you want to do. They own you and they turn you into somebody else and they refine you. It was a good thing. 8 weeks of marching in the middle of the night for no apparent reason, doing things for no reason, making a bed for no reason. You're just going to get back in it. Mm-hmm. It was a big shock to me, and it was a good thing for me. Gave me discipline.
How's the physical part of it? Was there any brutal physical challenges that was presented to you during these times?
Well, there was obstacle courses, there was 5-mile runs, considering I never ran in my life before that. It got me into very good shape. So yeah, it was a good thing.
And did you build any friendships while in Lackland?
No, I did not. I had the friend that I went in with, Lionel. We became friends until his death about 7 or 8 years ago of brain cancer. But no, I really have no memories of anybody in basic training, really.
No. And where were you sent after Lackland?
After Lackland, I had a week or 2 of leave, and I was sent to Chanute Air Force Base in Illinois for technical training school, which was another 8 weeks. I was trained in the field of aircraft fuel systems mechanics.
Mm-hmm. And why did you choose the field that you chose?
I didn't choose it. The Air Force chose it for me. They give you an aptitude test to see what you would be good at. some people got sent off to bookkeeping, some people were cooks. I guess they couldn't do anything else. They discovered I had an aptitude for mechanical and electrical things, so they chose that for me.
So you had to like take a test, I guess, and the test results showed that you were good mechanics and whatnot?
That I was good at.
Okay.
Yeah, they give everybody that test to see what
Yeah,
their strengths are.
I do have some of my friends that are in the military have had to take similar tests.
Right.
And the same thing has been applied for them. After your 8 weeks in Chanute, what exactly went down in your experiences?
Well, at the conclusion of my Chanute, my training, I got the next shock of my life was orders to go to the Philippines for 2 years. And I, didn't want. I wanted to go to McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey, near home, and everybody kind of wanted to do that. But I was sent to the Philippines.
So, like going in, you didn't expect at all what happened at all. Like going in, you didn't even want to be sent to the Philippines at all, basically.
No, I think people are given the impression that you can decide you want to be a pilot, so you go in the Air Force and you'll be a pilot, or you want to do this or you want to do that. Everything was decided for me in the military, and that's what happened.
Can you go into greater detail about your time, your 8 weeks in Chanute, like how your training was there and everything?
It was on some actual aircraft, mostly aircraft simulators. They just put a backbone of an F4 there and say change the fuel cells. I excelled in that training and enjoyed it quite a bit. I graduated at the top of my class. Got 100 on every final and on every test and on the final. So I was proud to do that.
How exactly? How did you get over to the Philippines? Was it by plane, ship, boat?
Yeah, the Air Force sent us tickets to San Francisco from wherever we were, and then in San Francisco, a military DC-8, which was a stretched DC-8 at the time, which I don't know if they still fly those, for the 17-hour flight with a stop in Okinawa for fuel, and then on to the Philippines.
And what were you sent to the Philippines to accomplish?
It was Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines. It was a MAC base and a TAC base, meaning Military Airlift Command and Tactical Air Command, meaning they had transport planes, C-130s, C-141, C-5s, and the TAC side of it was tactical. They had F-4s, fighter jets. So I gained experience in the fuel systems on both the big airplanes, C-5s and 141s, and C-130s, where I actually had to get out top of the wing and crawl inside the fuel tanks for some of the repairs. So it was a very technical job.
Were there any like instances while you were in the Philippines when battle happened or anything, or any like fighting that went on, or was it just a peaceful time in the Philippines?
We were in peacetime. It was President Marcos was in charge in the Philippines at the time, and there was no bullets flying. There was martial law off the base, which was a little hard to get used to. You couldn't be on the streets after midnight or before 6 a.m. And if you were, you had to give the policeman 20 or 30 pesos so that he wouldn't arrest you. I mean, it was a different society than I was ever used to. So there was a bit of a cultural shock there, too.
How was the cultural shock? Like, what shocked you the most? Like, go into detail about, like, the food, the relationships with people maybe who are Filipino and whatnot.
I enjoyed the Filipino people a lot. The food was different. There was a lot of the chicken on a stick. I forget what they called it over there. They had, I think it was called balut, where they would bury an egg for 2 weeks, and then you would eat the egg. That was